此视频由呵护你身体健康的 Gintell 赞助播出。巫统这个统治了马来西亚60年的老牌政党，在上一届大选居然输到脱裤，如何改革选出好的领导，成为了重中之重。但是党主席扎希比比居然不开放竞选，还要打压异己，开除或冻结了凯里、诺奥马、西沙穆丁等44人，其中包括巫统的宣传局主任沙里尔韩旦。所以这个曾经不可一世的传统大党究竟发生什么事，对你我又有什么影响呢？今天我们就请到了失业人士沙里尔韩旦来为我们一一打开巫统的谜团吧。Wow, today we got a star here.
Yes, very exciting.
Yeah, let's welcome Tony Leong, but
Malay version.
in Malay version. Syarif Hamdan, Mr. Syarif Hamdan.
Thank you.
Are you aware that you are being known as Tony Leong?
Yeah,
I heard about this during the election campaign.
MCA branding you as Malay.
See, that's funny. I'm not sure if MCA was the one who branded, but I'm not sure if your audience knows. I'm Mick. Mama Huaran or Papa Malairan.
Oh,
So you speak Mandarin?
一点点讲华语一点点.
A little bit.
I actually went to independent Chinese school for a year. In the morning, I would go to SK, and then in the afternoon, my mother insisted that I have to go to Chinese.
Very Chinese.
Yeah,
Chinese
a lot.
decision. You have to work two times harder.
And this is the part where it's a bit sad. I saw how sometimes we racialize things, even in the most innocent way. I remember one experience when I was in that Chinese school and going to SK in the morning. And when you're 7, 8 years old, you're coloring, right? So in the morning, I have to color the people in brown. in the evening when I go to the Chinese school, I would consciously color it orange. And everybody around you is doing the same. You go to the SK, everybody's coloring in that color. You're going to the Chinese school, everybody's coloring in a different color, right? One time I remember this very vividly. I forgot in the Chinese school and I colored in brown. And the teacher, not knowing my background, innocently asked. And she was like, "Why are you coloring it in brown?" I said, "Oh yeah, sorry."
They'll correct you.
They corrected me. I mean, it's not.
Interesting.
It's a very like I said, it's a innocent form of racialization that has maybe explains a lot of our issues and problems.
Alright, enough for our chit chat. We get to our topic today. So, what's going on? UMNO is really the old grand party who ruling Malaysia for 60 years, but right now it looks like a mess. And the high-profile leaders such as Harry, Nonoma, Hishamuddin, and you yourself has been suspended or even sacked.
What happened to you guys?
Yeah, dapat kerja atau because you are mixed?
No, definitely not because of that. I don't know. I think you have to ask them what on earth they were thinking about.
They didn't give you any reason?
Because they didn't give me any reason.
Don't have right.
There was no due process. They never sent us any letter. I checked everything. And if I was wrong, they would happily say it now already. Hey, we send you, right? But they've been quiet, right? So definitely they didn't send me anything. And this is a party that if they want to do it proper, they can do it proper.
How you found out this one?
Yeah,
I found out just like most of you did through social media. But maybe a few minutes earlier I maybe found out maybe 10 minutes earlier when some friends from inside the meeting, Supreme Council, started texting me and saying, hey,
so there isn't any formal communication from us?
Nothing. So the only formal communication is that official statement that came out that all of you saw, right? But they themselves have never communicated anything directly to me. So I'm not complaining about the fact that they didn't send me a letter to tell me that I've been suspended. More the fact that there was no process to begin with, right? So I'm not surprised.
So in your opinion, what is the real reason?
Yeah, because according to news, they say because you guys are doing defamation to the party.
I have no. Of course, I don't agree.
But you just say the party don't have a deal process.
You just defend your
they don't. If saying that the president should take responsibility after disastrous showing in election is considered defamatory, then this is not the UMNO that I know lah. This is a particular moment in the party in which a few people are running it like their private company. The real reason is my feeling, and I think this view is shared by many who don't agree with what occurred, is they did not want any dissent. They don't want any voice to disagree openly or even internally to say anything critical about certain individuals, including and especially the top individual. But it's not just him, it's a few people around him whose survival also is linked to his own thriving, right? Which is fine, politics is like that, but it's not okay. And I think in my case very specifically is they did not want me to contest as UMNO Youth Head. Why did they do this now? They could have done it earlier, right? They did it purposely, I think, to avoid, not just me lah, all the other guys to who kena to not be able to have any position in the party, and worse than that, now they kick us out lah. They pretty much kick us out, right? So we don't have any locus standi to speak from a platform.
They see you guys as a threat that maybe you will take over the party.
I mean, I don't think they were worried. How could we take over the party? He already blocked the presidency, already blocked the deputy presidency. You are secured as president, you're secured as deputy president, you have all the influence and power to be able to convince people, hey, don't vote for Shariel, don't vote for Khairi, don't vote for Hisham, don't vote for Ismail Sabri, whoever you don't like lah, right? Even that also you're not brave enough to do, and you rather paint us as traitors, and that's the way they run it now.
UMNO is still a democratic party? Or
not this moment. How? I mean, I said objectively speaking, how can you say this is a democratic party when after you see the worst electoral performance ever of this party, you don't allow for the grassroots to have a say on who should lead the party? That's one. You already done that.
Alright.
And then you silence everybody. You kick out people who are a bit headache for you, and then you paint them as all sorts of nonsense. At the same time, you know what's my biggest worry? My biggest worry for friends in UMNO is everybody will get scared. They'll make people scared. They'll look at my case especially, and they'll say, Shariel didn't do anything, didn't make any moves against the party in terms of interest. In my case, what did I say? What did I actually do?
You want to be a strong opposition only.
That's all I said. I said president should take responsibility. I said I love this party. I said we need to change to be accepted by the people. That one cannot. If so, people will know. People will know. In my case, if you speak up against the president, you can get suspended, you can get sacked.
In Chinese, we have the idiom saying, you kill someone in order to scare others.
Correct. So I hope that's not what's going to happen, but I won't be surprised because it's humans, right? If everybody sees basically dissent is not allowed, and if you are brave enough to even speak up, you have to be prepared to be kicked out. Then what kind of culture is that if not a culture of autocracy?
What is the response from grassroots, in your opinion?
Quite a number of the Supreme Council members, at least privately, have told me that they spoke out. And there's news reports saying that there were 5 people who spoke out against the decision.
Then why still the people can control the party as their wish?
I can imagine a situation where, you know, the president would just make a decision. People can say whatever they want to say, but the decision is the decision. I don't want to speak for all of the grassroots, but from what I hear and what I see, what I read, it's not. It's not something that they support. Can I just say this? If they were confident, if they were super confident that the grassroots were with them,
they will just let you to contest.
Or they themselves will open themselves up for contest, right?
But there's a dilemma there because the decision that block all the high posts cannot be contest is actually voted by the
delegates.
By the delegates.
Point one, delegates don't represent all of. The delegates are by definition not 3.4 million members, right? Because there's only a couple thousand people in the hall. That's one. 2 is a lot of tactics were done. There's a groupthink that happens in a setting like that, and nobody who is being honest will deny that fact. If everybody around you is doing something in that particular moment and instant, it's more likely that you will follow than not. That's one. The other one is that this groupthink is not just following for the sake of following. There is a fear if you don't follow. And I'm evidence of that. Right? I stood up against the motion. If you don't follow, there'll be consequences. There'll be career consequences. There will be political consequences to your own, day-to-day survival in the party. That's the culture that has seeped into this party under recent times. That's the biggest problem. It's not about us as individuals. I want to be clear. It's not that I'm so great or KJ is so great. It's not about us as people. We have flaws. We have weaknesses. We have mistakes. We're not saying we're saviors of the party. No. But when you do this to people who at least have a different point of view, you don't hear them out, you punish them and you ostracize them, and worse now, you kick them out, then you can understand why delegates in the hall will stand up or sit down in a different way. And there's so many cases of people telling me after they stood up, they all walked out of the hall. They felt disgusted by what happened. Why was the hall, the moment after the vote,
Being so empty.
half gone? People walked out and then they all hung out outside the hall and said, what is this? We were forced to stand up, scared of Ketua Bahagian, scared of division head. And that's the feeling that we felt that we had to do it. And the next day, I received calls. Received calls from people who stood up in support. They felt the need to justify to me that they actually, I don't really want to do it, but if I don't do it, then I'll be in trouble. I got to think about my situation in my division.
I will get less money.
No,
No, I know.
don't. I wouldn't give credibility to what you say. It's not about that.
How do you feel when you receive this kind of call? Like,
Would you
don't
feel like
you guys just
chuckle?
say only, but yeah.
I mean, that's life, and I cannot, in good conscience, try and blame people for the choices that they make. Because I said, the only thing I said to them, look, you don't have to justify to me.
Yeah.
You only have to justify to yourself.
If
you can live with yourself,
will it be a snowball and finally cause another share to move?
Yeah.
你是不是和我一样，工作非常压力，长时间坐着看电脑，颈项、肩膀通通非常酸痛呢？别怕，你的救星来了！没错，各位，就是 Gintell 推出的 S5 SuperChAiR 按摩椅。这台按摩椅有多厉害呢？我告诉你 ，Gintell 对它超有信心，全马唯一一家，你3天内试用不满意，马上给你退钱退货。因为它真的很舒服，按摩力道可以压到肌肉深处12cm， 再搭配全新的3D 立体按摩滚轮，就可以把累积在你肌肉当中的乳酸全部的有效推掉，让你解决疲劳。想象一下，你下班后就有著名铁打大师 Master Chris 6用日式拉筋法帮你拉筋，还有15个保健按摩程序让你挑选，脚底刮痧、肩膀、颈项应有尽有。它也有智能声控功能，只要说一句 Hi Gintell， 不用遥控器就可以为你服务。还有 Bluetooth speaker， 让你一边按摩一边看我报的新闻。这款按摩椅的原价是17988令吉，现在只需要7988令吉，大折扣啊！现在就在现在 ，Gintell 还有最后的48小时新年买1送2大促销。买一台 S5 超能按摩椅就会送你一个价值6276块的跑步机和一个 G Restore X 按摩坐垫哦。选择分期付款，1个月只需要221.89令吉，就可以把3台都带回家，真的超值得！赶快点击我们给粉丝的专属折扣链接，买来孝敬您的家人吧。Will it be a snowball and finally cause another share to move?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has an appetite for share to move. And this is something that they paint us when we were still in the party. They said one of the excuses for why you shouldn't contest president, deputy president is we need to think about the people.
Stabilize the
government for the people. So that's why I don't challenge presidency. See, this is the attitude of people who are not sincere. They use everything. You using race, UMNO have people over history that has done this. Right? And
It's very honest.
you know,
I
I've
understand why they want to suspend you.
It's not that.
Because of
if
your
we're being honest, no. This happens
Alright.
in so many parties, and it's not just UMNO.
Yeah.
But UMNO also has had history of certain individuals weaponizing race for political gain. Some people weaponize religion.
Okay.
Then you weaponize the public. You
Alright.
say, oh, this is for the public. Then you weaponize the grassroots. You're saying, actually, I'm doing this for the grassroots. In the end, in summary, they're not doing this for anything but themselves. I'm not saying I'm pure. There are moments that maybe I would appeal to some of these things. Except race and religion, I like to think that I really avoided that. Other parties do this, even in PH do this. Right? Don't even pretend like they didn't, weaponize certain things. But this is politics, fine. This level where even something as specific and ordinary as a party election and giving the right to the members to choose their own leader once every 5 years, even that you want to weaponize and say, don't do it because of the people. You think people cannot think? I think that's the curious
you can
thing.
challenge the president lah. You just don't leave the government okay already.
Yeah, and there was no.
KJ spoke this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Then
so.
they
It was
are
just
fine,
fear mongering. It was just fear mongering. If another crew won, and then we would take government UMNO out or BN out and destabilize the government. There was no desire, as far as I know, because one, we all know public is fed up. So why would we do that and make public angry with us to begin with? Two is, you speak to me now. Do you think I'm the kind of person who like PN more or PH more?
Oh, yeah.
If I had to pick, I'm not going to answer the question. I
We
just
don't-
throw
we don't know.
for you to think, right? Am
You
I
can answer lah.
ideologically? Am
Okay,
I
I know what you
ideologically?
think.
Yeah, well, now I'm telling you.
KJ say will support Anwar lah.
No, as in, for me, we should have been, the first option ideally was to remain opposition,
Alright.
right?
Sure.
If we have to prop up any government, just prop up under confidence and supply. But fine, if we had to pick a side and actually be part of government, party has made decision with PH, I had no particular problems with that. So it's not that we would go and support another side. Why would we do that?
What do you see relation between PH and BN? Is it a right decision to do at that time?
It
that
is
moment?
one of the options that was available, because we go in as our parties trying to win, right? And we were talking up the fact that we would win. In the end, we lost. So any option after that would have been necessarily second fiddle, necessarily be with somebody that we said to everybody that these guys are not good. We said PH is not good. We said PN is not good. Now we are supporting one of them lah. So in all cases, it was because we only won 30 seats. That's what we should be talking about. If you didn't win 30 seats only, then we have more options, right? But when you only win 30 seats, then you're forced into a corner to make options or make choices, none of which you are actually happy about, right? But once you make a decision, then it's your responsibility to make it work. So now that we're in government with PH, I don't think any of us are in appetite to try and say, oh, this is bad or this is wrong. No, we understand. So yeah, that's a completely separate issue.
How is Malay voters seeing this?
It's up to the UMNO leadership now to try and explain to the Malay voters.
What is the sentiment that you feel?
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good. And it's going to be very important and challenging for the UMNO guys to explain to the public and the Malay community in particular why they should still support UMNO. It was always going to be tough. Now it's going to be tougher. I'm not saying it's impossible, and my heart is still with UMNO, and I would have to think if I was in a position, right? How exactly I convey the message. And I've been thinking about it. Now it's not relevant anymore because I won't be in a position of leadership.
What would you
what would you
say
tell them if you
become the
this
youth?
all didn't happen?
A rough plan
Yeah.
would be to say that give UMNO some time to reform. That's why in all my videos it was about the reform. I said if there is no reform, there's no chance. So you begin with the reform has to be the first step.
What kind of reform
What do you
you
mean?
are saying?
Just changing the leaders or something?
No,
to do
not
with the
just
system?
not just changing leaders, but it would require us to speak very honestly about our integrity issue, the fact that people think we are a party of crooks.
Corruption.
From top to bottom. That is how people view us, right? And if you want to say this is purely a social media play and all we have to do is whack another side, I don't think you're being honest, because we have to accept the possibility that there are things that we've done and the way we act contributes to this. So it's not just the fact that it's social media or people talking. It's not always about fake perception. Some of it may be grounded in truth. There are particular cases in court that involve our leaders and our former leaders. Those are the kind of conversations that we will have to take, we have to have. You know, there are other kind of reforms around how we talk about Malaysia and kind of multiracialism that maybe we need to project now that we are with PH, so it makes us easier supposedly, right? So that's the kind of reform UMNO and BN itself, or UMNO per se, needed to speak about this and reform. And I talked about other institutional stuff, right? Like a research and intelligence unit. When I say research and intelligence, it's more of understanding what the public wants. I don't know what the plans of the current leadership are, but it should include that. It should include knowing what exactly are Malays saying, what exactly are non-Malays saying, what kind of issues of the day would be good to comment on, and what is the angle to comment on. How do we harmonize that info and that data with our ideology, right? How do we communicate that? So that's the kind of other reform that's nothing to do with leaders, but it's actual deep reform, so that we can actually have a chance. Because if you carry on as usual without all these big reform conversations and actions, I think it's really deep trouble with Malay community.
So according to a prediction,
In the
what will
next state elections,
what will
what
be
is
the
going to
result?
happen?
Malaysian politics has surprised us all many times this past 5 years, 10 years. So I'd like to be humble and not make much prediction because we've all been wrong. We've all been wrong.
Would you be more happy to see UMNO lose?
Oh no. UMNO is still in my heart and I want it to do well.
If they do well, then maybe the leader thinks
Yeah,
their
they
move
proved
right
their-
now is correct.
Yeah,
we should just harmonize everything.
They proved their point.
Yeah.
That's the way they would think. That's not the way I think.
Okay.
They would think, oh, I was sanggup, something bad happens to something broader and more important because my specific goals are this. I'm not that kind of person. So if the party does well and they take advantage of that, that's fine. We have other arguments to make. I'm not the kind of person who want to hope or wish for something bad because I've nothing. I love the party. It's the leaders that have done this to us. It's the leaders that have done this to me. It's certain individuals who were so scared to face criticism and scared to face some challenge, who wanted easy life. Already easy, one easier some more. This is not against the party. I have no ill will against them, not against especially the members. So if I wish for something bad to the party so that the leaders look bad, what about the members? So I have to care about the members. I have to care about how they feel, right? That for me is more important. That's the reality of it, and I hope that the party finds a way.
I have a question which
sure.
is quite out of topic. May I know what are the elements that you subscribe to UMNO that you love it so much? Like non-Malays like us, we only think, of course, because Malay supremacy.
But you just say you don't want to weaponize the racial
So what
Yeah,
are
yeah.
the things that you
Because I don't think that's the right way for UMNO to win.
What is the ideology that
You should join
make
PKR.
you love UMNO so much? Yeah.
So for me, this is a long-winded. This is a deep question. Deep. For me, you work within the realities of in our country, in our lifetime, racial identities and not necessarily racial politics, but racial identities and making decisions and having solidarity based on a racial community will exist. And it will not go away in our lifetime. This is something that I think all parties, whether they publicly accept or not, say or not, they accept. So the model that BN has is a multiracial coalition in which there are race-based parties. Other coalitions exist in a way that also operate knowing that there are racial identities and knowing that there are racialization of politics, but they don't operate that under an ostensibly or overtly race-based party. But in PH, for example, this has been said so many years lah, and I hope I'm not offending PH friends, and I don't think they feel offended because they've heard this many times. There is a party in PH that really has the strongest base of one particular community, right?
AP for Chinese lah.
So we know.
Just say it,
Your audience is smart enough.
Yeah,
the audience smart enough to know. There are parties in PH whose task is to cover the Malay community.
PKR failed.
Whether it's PKR, whether it's Amanah, So don't tell me your audience doesn't believe that when the PH guys sit together, they don't think about this. They think about this. They also operate under the knowledge that there are Malaysians and the way we think, at least in part, is motivated by that communal solidarity and communal think. It doesn't have to go towards racism. This is where I don't support, and I've never supported weaponizing racial and religious issues. It's been hard because it's very easy to whip up support when you play up racial and religious sentiments. So I always have to ask myself when I'm in UMNO, right? When I say something, do I believe there is a substantive reason for my positioning that is not about racial and religion alone? And to your original question, then why UMNO? How's UMNO going to operate without weaponizing? Actually, this is something that UMNO leaders need to explain well.
Alright.
That actually, in the past, we didn't always win votes by weaponizing. We win votes by saying to the Malay community, we are your best hope and we are going to do well for you. But It's not that we're going to do well for you at the expense of the Chinese or the expense of the Indians or the expense of non-Malays in general. We need to be able to fight for you, and this is what we'll do. We'll make sure that there is a particular set of policies that helps the Malay community, helps you get into the economy, play a bigger role in the economy, increase your incomes, but it's not a zero-sum game because you're supposed to grow the cake. That's been done. It's not that it's never been done in our history, you know. And we can talk about the Malay leadership in the country as something that is positive. I've always said in UMNO speeches, my goal, and I talk to a Malay audience, my goal is to not control other races. It's to lead the country such that even other communities feel that we like Malay leadership. And in the past, that's what happened, right? In the past, non-Malays were very happy to give trust to UMNO and BN because they felt that UMNO BN was the best for the country, felt that UMNO BN was fair. They understood that, there's a particular situation in this country where there's special privileges for Malays. We are okay with that as long as you're not corrupt, as long as you don't use that privileges for your own gain, only enrich the few. That's the problem, right? So if UMNO can go back to that kind of leadership, I think non-Malays would really consider. But if your approach is, you must be scared of me because if you don't follow me, this is what I'll do, and I'll make your
there is another
fear mongering, and then I don't think, then forget it lah. Then so I'm not part of that. I don't want to win via this kind of scare and fear mongering. I wanted to win based on quality and why we deserve to win.
I think that's why BN lost the non-Malay votes in previous election. But why does BN also lost the Malay votes in last election?
So that's the more
another
recent trend. I think Malays in general outside UMNO, they're tired of being told that no matter what we do, you must vote us. I think they felt we took them for granted. They had no love for PH, and you can see in the data. So many of them didn't vote PH either, right? In fact, but BN and UMNO is not something we want to tell them that it's not just you. And now we have a different coalition that also, if you're talking about conservative Malay ideology, UMNO used to be the only one who can talk about that with credibility, right? Now the other guys also speak the same language.
Maybe they're even better with the religion.
Perhaps. That's not something for me.
More cleaner.
But it's that bit. It's the fact that they were seen. If we don't, this is where however we corner this conversation, it goes back to the same thing. You don't reform. If you're not willing to reform, non-Malays are not going to go for you. The Malays are not going to go for you. Then where? The shortcut that they might be thinking, we just be with PH, and then we ride on PH's base, and we show the Malays that we are in government and we can take care of your interests. If that is your approach, I think you're in for a rude shock. Because I think it's you are basically doing everything you can to refuse to look at the deep reforms that actually needed. Because that's not deep reform. That is just basically saying, now UMNO is different. We can be friends with PH. So please, non-Malays, give us your votes. And then to the Malays say that, I know you don't like PH, but at least we are inside government. We can take care of your interests so that PH don't do funny things. If that is your approach, you really think the public is dumb lah.
It looks like MCA in our Chinese community eyes.
I don't want to join you in saying bad things about MCA because at
Join
least like I said, I'm the kind of person who is as far as possible, I'm loyal to friends lah. I know MCA hasn't done well.
We're just telling you what people really think.
I know.
I know.
In fact,
it's a voice problem.
I understand, and that's how MCA's problem
and I
has
think
been.
that's how Malay look at BN.
I hope not.
UMNO, right?
if it comes to that, then you tell me, is there a way back for MCA?
No.
Unless they have a reform lah.
Same answer. So I'm not in any position to speak for MCA, right? But in the case of UMNO, it's that, right? If we are not willing to reform, we're not willing to talk about integrity, we're not willing to show that we are democratic, not willing to show that we're open to different ideas and dissent, all of which we have failed to show this past 1 month, then how? But I don't think that's what the membership feels. I don't think that's what the membership wants, but that's what the leadership wants.
Because they cannot compromise to the kind of reformation you guys suggesting. What you guys say, You want
They're
to
not
show clean
it's worse than
and
that.
new
Oh, yeah,
image.
cannot be clean.
You want to
It's-
stack the one
Yeah.
with court case.
It's worse than that, Kamal. Here's the thing, the funny thing. We haven't even really talked about, we haven't even debated about what kind of reforms we should be doing.
They
Right.
knew what you're
You-
thinking.
Yeah, they know I'm thinking lah. They know basically the terrain that we are gonna operate. But my point is, you don't even allow that debate to occur because they could come back, right? They can counter my argument. They can say you don't talk so much. It's not about this. It's because we failed to show that PN also is more corrupt than us. So maybe that's what we should do.
Maybe true also.
Yeah.
Maybe true also.
You know, I don't think that is the real issue, but they could make that case, right?
Yeah.
This is worse. They don't even dare to enter that debate.
What is your
What you're
yourself
planning.
planning? Like you don't want to be a politician anymore? Or
Yeah.
do you have any?
You didn't get offered as DJ also or football team.
No, I didn't. You
want to accept
I'm
our
not.
job offer?
I'm not at that level of our friend. But I have a passion for public service. I really enjoy this. I mean, enjoy is a different word lah, but I have passion for it. I have a calling for it of sorts. I feel. So it's hard for me to imagine just going and fading away into a very private life. But how am I supposed to maintain this public service thing? It's not clear yet to me.
So you haven't decided whether you want to join other parties or...
I don't think I want to rush into anything big like that. Technically speaking, you know, I got suspended, but 6 years is a long time lah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hang around for 6 years, wait for it to automatically become member again, right?
6 years,
unlikely
and
for
next
that.
election also passed.
Yeah,
that means you
next-
cannot elect for
next- correct.
for 10 years.
Correct. My party elections I cannot run for back-to-back elections. It's a long time. And it's not just about holding position, because people might say, oh, means you want to have position. Yeah, let me be honest, I want to be considered for a position so that I can speak from a position of some strength. But it's hard to imagine going to another party because I don't know any other party but UMNO. I've never operated in any other party but BN, right?
I got
You-
starting
if you-
number.
yeah.
You can call
it's okay,
Sai
I got his number also.
PKR also lah.
PKR, we got PKR number.
The
you
So-
want.
AP also lah. The AP
Got.
We got many TAP contacts.
I will say this very humbly. I'm meeting quite many of them. They are asking me out for coffee and stuff. So that's nice.
Satu and pass.
No, the other ones.
Yeah.
So
Or PS from this.
but not to say that they will offer me anything.
Alright.
They're all friends, you know.
Yeah,
I think we know each other's numbers because we've been talking to each other, we've met each other before, and in moments like this, I guess they just as human beings wanted to check in with one another, and that's nice of them. But I don't want to be presumptuous. They also know that not everybody loves us, right? It's not that if suddenly I go into one party, all of them will say, oh, good choice. They might be like, why are you bringing these rejects in? So they, you know, that's not something that I can easily say yes to, or they can easily say yes to. So I need time lah. I need time to think, how do I craft this public service passion I have, given this current set of circumstances. It could be that I don't need to join a political party immediately. I can speak out from a different kind of platform, test and see whether people have anything to are interested in what I have to say. Because before this, whatever I say is because I'm know something. I'm know something, right? Now I'm nothing. I'm just, let's say lah, some entity or think tank or NGO. Do people still want to listen to what I have to say? I don't know. It could be yes, could be no. I'm open to that possibility that, you know, I don't have a large audience if it's not based on a party. I don't know. So I like to find out. But to just walk away and I might take some time off, I don't know, but not in the sense of just walking away and doing nothing lah.
Just one question. Would you be fair to see you and others as a gang? Right? We always call you KAIRI as reform gang. Do you agree to this?
If you call it reform labeling, I quite like that.
A gang?
It's not a gang. I mean,
Yeah.
No. I mean, with me and KAIRI, there's some history there because I worked for him out of uni. More important than the fact that I worked for him, our views tend to align on, not necessarily on political moves, but on policy. We actually believe very similar things about what Malaysia should do and how we handle race relations. We have those kind of conversations. We both struggle how on earth we talk about racial politics without being racist and without pandering, so that is what we always think about, and we've always been seen as a more progressive side of UMNO, right? I guess now we have the chance to
really speak
what we want to say, without having to manage and control and worry that people may misinterpret, because we've been called all sorts of things. We've been called liberal, we've been called, don't have Malay spirit. They will say throw all these things, right? Now that we're outside of that bubble, it's time to rethink how we communicate our beliefs and our ideas.
Alright,
Really wish you good luck.
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's really a good sharing for us and give us a very fruitful insight from your perspective. So thank you so much, Mr. SuperChAiR Hamdan. Thank you so much. And sorry to Kyrie, we ran out of time.
No time
so
for you.
no time
we
for
already
you.
have another one speak.
Alright, thank you so much. Thank you so much. 怎么样，SuperChAiR Hamdan OK 吗？
好帅啊，SuperChAiR Hamdan！
是，
而且我觉得你表现也非常好，
哎呦，得到你的称赞，为什么？
真的。我觉得你在讲他形容巫统的时候，你把马华带进来，很精准。
为什么？
因为很多人都讲说火箭很有可能变成马华 2.0， 对不对？其实在我看来啊，巫统更有可能变成马华 2.0。
哇，哇，那是马华的荣幸啊！没有。好，那更多这样子的思考，我们就同样的放在我们的吹哨编辑室里面哈，回馈给我们的会员，所以希望大家可以多多加入，因为真的很好。不信的话哦，我念一点comment给你听哦。
周易讲感谢各位会员影片好好看。介绍讲说 Membership is well worth, keep up the good job。Roger 讲讯息量爆棚，太喜欢这个系列啦。没有上去讲说很棒，继续做下去。好，这个 Feederbot 5000说讯息超多，这 Membership 值了。
你这样子称赞自己会不会害臊？
不会啦，好的东西就应该这个好好的宣传。
吹哨者编辑室正式启动，编辑室里会有主播和主编的真心话、深度议题的继续挖掘、政治内幕大爆料，以及正面回应观众提问。每周更新，只在我们的 YouTube 会员区，点击 Join Button 即可加入。iOS 手机没有的话，就到电脑找，等着你加入我们的吹哨者联盟。